gentlemen, I'm going to review the Born to Stand Out Dirty and Sticky Sample Set. Born to Stand Out is a South Korean niche fragrance brand that focuses on creating very divisive and unique fragrances that are not for everyone, but are certainly very unique and, as the brand name suggests, are born to stand out. Their slogan is literally, "Who fucking cares?" So you know you're in for a treat right here. There are 8 fragrances in the sample set that I'm going to talk about: the scent profile, longevity, projection of, and in the end give all of these 8 fragrances immense improvement rating. So let's not waste any more time and let's talk about this sample set right here. So whenever you open up the sample set and pull the tab here, which I already did, you can open up the sample set and you're greeted with this small plate here consisting of 8 individual scent strips, where on the back you have each of the fragrances names and 3 of the most distinctive notes in each individual fragrance. And the first one here is going to be Angel's Powder. And before I start, this was a pleasant start to the sample set. So let's apply this fragrance on the strip and let's talk about the scent profile. So the 3 main notes that Born to Stand Out pinpoints for this fragrance are cotton candy, nail polish, and vanilla sugar. This has this very synthetic nail polish type of scent to it, but there's also this very fluffy, sweet airiness possibly coming from that cotton candy accord, and this dries off to being this very sweet, vanilla-like, slightly sugary skin scent in the end of the development of the fragrance. I've noted that in the first hours of this fragrance's lifetime, this can be very off-putting and very synthetic for some, but that is due to the very divisive opening of the nail polish accord. On my skin, this fragrance lasts 12 plus hours with a lot of push to the fragrance. This isn't mild at all. This is a strong fragrance, especially in the first 2 hours, where I got an arm's length of projection and a nice scent bubble that I could get whiffs of. And whenever this gets to dry in the end, this has this very mild, slightly vanilla-y, sugary dry down that is very pleasant and super comfortable. But the opening is where it's at, especially if you want to really stand out, no pun intended. This fragrance is one that my girlfriend really wants a full bottle of, and I don't blame her. And I've rated Angel's Powder a 9.6 out of 10 men's improvement rating. So we're starting off really strong with a very unique scent that is really divisive, not for everyone, and personally it's one that I really enjoy. So next up is Dirty Heaven. Let's spray this on the strip and let's talk about the scent profile. So the 3 notes that Born to Stand Out gives for this fragrance are tonka bean, jasmine, and grey amber, which I suppose is ambergris or ambrox or ambroxan. This gives off this very purple-like sensation that tonka bean can give off, and this definitely has some of this sugary, airy sweetness. This also has some heft to it, possibly coming from the jasmine. This also has lift that isn't overbearing, that isn't over the top, but it still announces itself in a very pleasant, airy way. On my skin, this lasts 10 to 12 hours with around an arm's length of projection that becomes a mild skin scent after an hour or so. This is very pleasant, lively, sweet, sugary, but not overly dense and headache inducing. In terms of immense improvement rating, I have given this an 8.8 out of 10. I think this is a very nice fragrance. Great, sweet tonka bean fragrance with some airiness to it as well. I really like it and I can highly recommend to give this one a try. Next up is Dirty Rice. So let's apply it and let's talk about it. Before I say anything, this is the fragrance that I've given the second lowest rating out of all 8 of these, and that is because this is a very simple, very linear fragrance, and it's just not something for me. But I don't think it is a bad fragrance at all. It is very well made, very interesting, and a fragrance that I think there's a lot of appeal for. The 3 notes that are pinpointed here are basmati rice, milk, and sandalwood. And what you're getting here is this slightly dirty, foggy like rice scent that is very milky, smooth, round, and some sandalwood in the base as well to round it off a little bit more with the milk accord and the basmati rice accord. So this is definitely something woody, somewhat fresh in a rice sense, if that makes sense for you, but it also has this foggy like feeling that rice water has. So the way that rice water looks, this smells like. And if you like milky signature scents but you want something with a slightly dirty edge and is very smooth and round whenever it gets to dry and develop, then I think this is something for you. On my skin this lasts 8 to 10 hours with moderate projection that quickly becomes a mild skin scent. It's definitely not for everyone and not to my taste either, but even though that's the case, I think it's a very well made fragrance with great longevity for that type of nature, and I've given this fragrance an 8 out of 10 minutes improvement rating. Next up, and unfortunately the lowest rated fragrance in my opinion of the sample set, is going to be Fig Porn. So let's apply it and let's talk about it. The 3 notes of this fragrance that are pinpointed are fig, cedarwood and vanilla. So at the top of this fragrance you get this burst of fig and a slightly sour pear accord with some freshness at top as well. So this starts off very fig, fruity and fresh, zingy and bright, and becomes this very mild, sweet, slightly fig-like as well, but mostly this very vanilla-y, smooth, musky scent that is inoffensive and pleasant. But the reason I've rated this very low, and I think this fragrance is unfortunately a disappointment, is because of the longevity. Longevity wise, I only got 6 to 7 hours and the projection was non-existent. It was a mild skin scent throughout the lifetime of the fragrance. So this fragrance I really enjoy wearing, but I'm just disappointed of the longevity and projection. It is very minor and non-existent, and the longevity is also very poor. So even though I really like it, I was disappointed. And in terms of immense improvement rating, I've given this a 7.9 out of 10. I just think, in my experience, in my opinion, it is a somewhat disappointing fig dominant fragrance. Next up is Happy Nuts. So let's apply it and let's talk about it. So the 3 main notes of this fragrance pinpointed are pistachio, almond and black sesame. I know there's also some rum, davana and caramel in here, and this is definitely a very happy and uplifting nutty scent. So the pistachio and almond here give you this nutty, fresh, uplifting sensation, with the rum and caramel giving it a sweet, boozy backbone that it's not overly strong but is very pleasant to wear. Because this is a more pleasant and uplifting nutty scent, it's not going to be very dense and thick. In terms of longevity and projection, I got 8 to 10 hours of longevity, and in my wearing experience I got moderate projection and a nice scent bubble in the first hour, but I quickly got anosmic to the fragrance, so I couldn't smell it on myself, but people around me could smell me if they came up a little close. If you like nutty fragrances and you want a nutty fragrance with a lot of different nuances, I can definitely recommend to check this out, because this is a very happy, uplifting, unique and interesting nut forward fragrance, which I really enjoy wearing, and I've given this fragrance an 8.6 out of 10 minutes improvement rating. I will look forward to emptying my sample here. Next up is a very interesting one. This is Indecent Cherry. So let's spray it on the strip and let's talk about the scent profile. This is something right up my alley. If you don't know already, I love cherry dominant fragrances, so I was looking very much forward into trying this fragrance, and I love this scent DNA. The 3 notes that are pinpointed here are sweet cherry, strawberry and almond, and you get this very decadent, juicy, fruity sweetness of cherry and strawberry, but you also get a very minor sensation of some dry nuttiness coming from the almond as well, and this dries and develops into a more sweet, less cherry dominant, but mostly very ambery and vanilla forward sweet skin scent in the end, where cherry and strawberry are to pick out throughout the lifetime of the fragrance, but it starts very juicy, very sweet and dominant, and dries to being more inoffensive, sweet, vanilla-y and ambery with a very clean musk in the base as well to give it some roundness and cleanliness. I can definitely say that if you like cherry dominant fragrances, you will also enjoy this, but I think there are better cherry fragrances out there, definitely more robust and heavier cherry dominant scents, but this is a very good one, and one that I think is versatile enough to be worn the whole year round in every season for every occasion, dressed up or dressed down. On my skin, this lasts 10 to 12 hours with a moderate scent bubble for an hour or so, which then dries to being a moderate and in the end become a mild skin scent after 2 hours or so. In terms of a men's improvement rating for Indecent Cherry from Born to Stand Out, I have given this fragrance a very solid 8.5 out of 10. Second to last fragrance from the Discovery set is going to be Nanatopia. This is my most favorite from the Discovery set, and I'll tell you quickly why. This is reminiscent of banana bread or a banana cake, whatever you might call it in your region, but this is so fun, so unique, so interesting, and such a fun take for a gourmand fragrance to go into. The main notes for this fragrance pinpointed by the brand are banana bread, rum, and caramel. If I am totally blunt with you, this fragrance is so well blended that I can't really pinpoint each and every note here, and that is particularly why I think this fragrance is so good. There has been taken care of this scent DNA to the smallest of details. This is, in my experience, very linear, and this smells of banana bread throughout the entire lifetime of the fragrance, which I think is super interesting. This is sweet, it's fruity in a banana type of way, it's dry, it has a yeast-like quality that gives you this bread type of scent, and there are some slight nuances here and there that give you some boozy caramel-like sensation combined with the sweet banana bread type of scent DNA. If you want a very unique banana bread-like gourmand fragrance, I think this is as good as they come. In my experience, this is also the longest lasting fragrance here with 16 plus hours of longevity on my skin, with a nice scent bubble for around an hour or so, which then dries to being a moderate and in the end a mild skin scent. So this isn't the strongest fragrance out there, but it certainly does last on my skin for a very long time. After 16 hours it was very faint, but it was still there. I highly recommend this fragrance, especially if you love gourmand fragrances. And in terms of a men's improvement rating, I have given this a 9.7 out of 10 men's improvement rating. Not only the highest rated fragrance in my opinion here, but also the longest lasting one, the most unique one. I can highly recommend Born to Stand Out Nanatopia for you guys, especially if you love gourmand fragrances. And last but certainly not least, we have Sugar Addict. So the three main notes for Sugar Addict pointed out by the brand is sugar, cacao absolute, and rum. And this is such a fun, sweet fragrance. This is powdery in a sugar kind of way. So what I pick up here is the combination of this sugar accord combined with cacao absolute that give you this powdery cacao powder sensation here with a touch of this dry booziness coming from rum, and together it gives you this concoction of different sweet nuances that smell like cacao powder. It's powdery, it's sweet, it's not overly strong and potent, but it is super fun, compliment pulling, and in my opinion easy to wear if you like sweet fragrances. On my skin this lasts 8 to 10 hours with a scent bubble lasting for around half an hour or so, which then becomes a moderate and in the end a mild skin scent. Because it's not as potent, as strong, and as complicated as I would have wanted it to be, I have not rated this very highly, but I still given it a very solid rating of an 8.3 out of 10 men's improvement rating. Sugar Addict is something that I can highly recommend you check out. Man, it's such a fun scent right here. So the last thing I want to say in this video is that BORNTOSTANDOUT is a very fun brand with a lot of different fragrances that are very interesting, fun and unique. And so far my favorite fragrances from the brand are Nanatopia, Angel's Powder, Indecent, Cherry, and two that I haven't mentioned in this video because I don't have samples of them, Drunk Maple and Mary Jane. If you enjoyed this video of me reviewing the BORNTOSTANDOUT sample set, then don't forget to smash the like button and comment down below what you think of this video, the brand, if you've tried out their fragrances, if it's the first time you're hearing about them. I would love to discuss and talk about the different things you have to say in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, then don't forget to subscribe to the Men's Improvement YouTube channel for more videos about fragrances, grooming, style, fashion, skincare, fitness, watches, everything that will make you gentlemen the best possible versions of yourselves. The last few things I want to ask you gentlemen is to smile more because it's free, and I want you to watch these two videos right here. This one here below is going to be my latest upload, whereas this one up here is going to be a video that the YouTube algorithm thinks you will enjoy.